Bat maker Alex Hohenkirk is proud of the company's Victorian roots.
So when's this bat from?
This bat was made in 1875.
Right, and you're going to try and recreate this for us?
Yeah, I'll try and recreate this one today. It's a lot different from what we make now. You can see the differences in the general amount of wood that's in the bat all through it.
Is this machine made or is
No, it's all handmade, and we do everything by sight.
Right.
All right, and so I shall try and replicate this bat for you.
Cricket bat design was transformed in the 19th century. Before this date, bats were made of one piece of wood, which meant they were easy to break and hard to repair. So bat makers came up with the idea of creating a bat in two parts by splicing together the handle and the blade.
With having a splice, this gives a bat more flexibility, and it gives you much more sort of strength and versatility in the shots that you're playing, and you've got more feel for the game with a bat that's been spliced.
And the innovations didn't stop with the splice. The famous Victorian cricketer W.G. Grace developed a new style of batting, which in turn spurred changes to the shape of the bat that can still be seen today.
When did the humps on the back here start being sort of really introduced?
The humps started to develop in around 1860, 1870. It was something pioneered by some of the bigger hitters of the day, players like W.G. Grace. Yeah. Originally, players were very into just pushing the ball around the ground, gentle shots and using the speed of the ball. Players like Grace tended to revolutionise things by big hitting. So the hump's been put into the bat to put more wood into the bat, which means we've got a stronger and harder striking surface. So just one final look. The weights are pretty similar now, and I think we're pretty much there.
Wonderful, thank you very much.
I hope it plays well for you in your cricket match, and good luck with it.
Back at the cottage, Ruth's indulging in her favourite summer pastime.
Gardening as a leisure activity is something that becomes much more popular in the Victorian period.
I'm making myself a pesticide here. Nice and simple. It's to kill the sawfly on the gooseberries. These are the leaves of the elder tree, and I'm just dropping them into the bucket where there's a kettle full of hot water. I'm going to add in a few shavings of soap, bash the whole lot together, and hey presto, that's all it is. Oh, it's nice and warm. Come on, you little sawflies. Off me gooseberries.
Ruth's little garden isn't the only one on the estate. Mr. Acton has a spectacular walled garden. It needs constant care, and he's asked the boys to help out. For Alex, it's presented a golden opportunity.
There's a swarm of bees in the walled garden. This is an excellent chance for me to get involved in beekeeping. It really is something that really sort of captures my imagination. For a Victorian farmer, it would be the perfect sideline. I shouldn't need gloves, but I am going to take the precaution here with a bit of string, just so they don't crawl up my sleeves. But I don't think I'm going to do this alone. I'm going to wait for a local beekeeping expert to come and help me wrestle this swarm and get it into our Victorian cottage hive. Well, thanks ever so much for coming over, Brian. Good, pleasure.
Brian Goodwin is president of the Shropshire Beekeepers Association.
Yeah, it's been there for a while. Woo.
Good swarm.
And we're going to capture these bees and we're going to put them in our cottage hive.
We are, that's right.
For their new home. Now, how long is it going to be before I get stung?
Well, you won't feel anything after about the 4th, so you'll be all right.
Right, OK.
Brian's going to catch the bees in an old-fashioned type of hive, known as a skep.
They were the way to keep bees many, many years ago.
I mean, this is the sort of classic ancient way of keeping bees, and sort of reminiscent, I suppose, of Winnie the Pooh.
Exactly that, yes. The bees are clustering now on this branch of a tree.
Yep.
And the strategy is to get them all in this basket. And the simple way of doing that is to just use a simple brush. No problem at all.
This isn't going to upset them then, doing this?
Yes, you'll have 30 or 40,000 flying around your ears, but don't worry too much about that. The first thing to do is to shake.
Right.
There we are.
I'm a bit worried about them crawling up my...
They won't hurt you. They're perfectly docile. They're an Italian type of bee.
This is an Italian type of bee? Right. So we haven't got ourselves a good British breed
No.
here. So, and these were imported in the Victorian period, then?
They were,
these?
yes. They were imported from Slovenia, northern Italy, and they bred thousands and thousands of queens each year, and we imported them into this country in the mistaken belief that they were better than our bees. And there they are. They're all in the skep.
Skeps had many shortcomings. The swarm makes its honeycomb inside the basket, so to reach the honey, many keepers would kill their bees. Fortunately for Alex, in the 19th century, a brand new hive changed all that.
There are the bees again, and I drop them onto this sloping surface, and they'll all start to walk uphill. Their natural tendency is always to go into a closed, dark area where they can re-establish themselves as a colony of bees.
They're all doing it now.
The modern beehive was created in 1851 by an American named Lorenzo Langstroth. He based his design on an amazing observation.
Langstroth realised that the bees always constructed their combs with an 8mm gap.
8mm gap.
This 8mm gap became known as the bee space, and replicating it was the basis of Langstroth's invention.
I could lift this wooden frame which we put into the hive, and you will see that if I move it backwards and forwards, there's just 8mm space.
Right.
The bees add the beeswax in the centre there. We can take the comb out and we can examine it quite easily. And the bees are quite happy clinging to the comb, carrying on with their work, while the beekeeper can twist the comb about and observe exactly what they are doing.
Get a really good
Why they're doing
inspection
it.
going here.
That's right. And so for the first time, beekeepers became not just beekeepers, but bee managers. They could influence what was going on in the hive and take certain steps to change the behaviour of the bees and to change what was happening. And that was revolutionary, and that revolutionised beekeeping.
Right.
Wonderful.
That's fine.
It's the day of the cricket match. Acton Scott, the farm's local team, are playing a neighbouring village.
It'll give us a chance to try out the new bat.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, we've knocked it in, oiled it up, and it's ready to go. Almost looks as smart as we do.
Yes. And again! It's a nice bat, Peter. It's working beautifully.
I don't claim to be a sports fan. I think I'm just here to eat the sandwiches and have a nice sit down. There's so many people. I was hoping somebody else would bring some food as well, but never mind. It'll probably all disappear in about 10 seconds flat.
I won't be here for very long. One ball. Oh, split my trousers.
Go on! Middle.
I seem to have split the incredibly tight trousers. I got a hole in my pants as well. Oh, thank God. I really want to be back out there batting.
You do?
Yeah, I think with a better pair of trousers,
Right.
I could have stayed in a bit longer.
Of course, earlier on in the 19th century, we'd probably be doing blood sports, the bare fist fighting, the cockfighting, all that kind of thing. But towards the end of the 19th century, landlords were looking to get their labourers and the people of the parish involved in far gentler sports. So cricket was a perfect opportunity to sort of galvanise the community. Far more gentlemanly pursuits for the labouring classes.
As June begins, preparations for the hay harvest are in full swing.
This is our mower.
How does it work then?
Hay comes in here.
Yeah.
We're missing a blade.
Yes, it's not in brilliant shape, is it?
The sheep are enjoying their shorter fleeces. Forget-me-not and her calf are doing well. And for a couple of weeks, the bees have been left to their own devices.
It's about time that I got into the hive and had a check to see how things are getting on. And look at that.
That is absolutely wonderful. They are making inroads. And in fact, looking at it, I think I should be concerned, because the danger here is that what they'll do is they'll fill this up and they'll say, right, we've run out of space, we need to swarm, we need to find somewhere else to go, and that's the last thing I want.
To swarm and make a new colony, bees must first create a new queen.
So I think the most crucial thing for me to do here is to check that they're not developing any queen cells. Let's have a look. You can see all the larvae in there, and bingo. Now this is just what we don't want. This thing here is a queen cell. I think, to be honest, I've got it just in the nick of time. My job really here is to just pinch this out. That wasn't far off becoming a queen. So what I'm going to do is put another box on with some more frames in, some empty frames in. This is going to go back on. Just a minute, chaps. I've just got to be on the meat and 2 veg. Don't want them getting in there. So, I think I've taken the necessary steps to avoid swarming. So, let's get the lid on. And it clearly won't be long now before we can start to extract some honey.
Piglets have got big, and it's high time they were weaned from their mother. At the moment, their pure source of food is princess's milk, so we need to wean them, which is a gradual process. There's a picture of a ring pig's trough in Book of the Farm, and we've got a very similar design pig trough. And basically, it creates segments, so when the piglets feed, they've each got their own little compartment, which I suppose mirrors the fact that they each have their own teat that they will take milk from Princess from. But I'm going to try and let the pigs out without letting Princess out, which is going to be easier said than done. Done it the other way around. So I'll feed her here. Go anywhere for food. There you go. It appears on the surface of things to be moderately successful. Rearing these guys has been a lot of work, but it's been such a fun time, and I'm immensely proud. Certainly of the ones that are feeding from the feeder. Not so much of the ones with the heads in the bucket, but it's been great. Out of all the animals on the farm, I think the pigs are the ones I'm going to miss the most. It's going to be quite a wrench, actually. And once they're fully weaned, some you'll keep and some you'll kill. Shh, don't tell them. It's harsh. It's harsh.
I've got a really messy, stinky job here. I've got the stomach of a young calf, a male calf from our neighbours over there, and I've got to clean it out and make rennet, which is the magic ingredient that turns milk into cheese. Obviously, in a dairy herd, male calves are not terribly useful. So at this time of year, many of the male calves are slaughtered. You eat the veal, of course, which is very tasty, and use the stomachs to make your cheese.
A calf's stomach has 4 chambers. Ruth must find the 4th one, where rennet is produced.
Rennet is the juices of the stomach.